This is Movie Night with the Boys. Hi, welcome to Movie Night with the Boys. I'm John,
No, I'm Zach.
and we are a weekly podcast where we discuss movies. And this week, we're talking about The Bubble. Tell us about it, some Zach.
The Bubble, 2022, directed by Judd Apatow, and the cast is Karen Gillan as Carol Cobb, and you should know her as Nebula from the MCU. She was in Jumanji. She's also the main character in Gunpowder Milkshake, and she was in Doctor Who. Next up, we have Iris Apatow as Crystal Chris. She was in Funny People, This is 40, Knocked Up, and Sausage Party. Then we got Pedro Pascal as Dieter Bravo, and he was in Wonder Woman, The Mando. Everybody knows. Everybody knows him.
Yeah.
Um, Next up, we got Leslie Mann as Lauren Vann. She was in Big Daddy, Knocked Up, Rio, The Croods, Blockers, a whole bunch of shit. So next up, we have Fred Armisen as Darren Egan, and he was in Eurotrip, Anchorman, Deuce Bigelow, Tenacious D, a whole bunch of shit. A lot of these actors are in a whole bunch of shit. Next up, David Duchovny, X File, and he played Dustin Mulray, and he was in X Files, Californication. David Duchovny.
Evolution.
Next, we have Keegan Michael Key as Sean Knox, and he's a comedian. He has that show Key and Peele. Um, then we have Kate McKinnon as Paula. She's from Ghostbusters, Office Christmas Party, The Spy Who Dumped Me, and she's in the new Prime series, Joe versus Carol, where she's playing Carol Baskin. This chick, yeah, she's hilarious. Then we have Guz Khan, and he played Howie Frangopoulos, Polopis,
Yeah, good
and
luck.
yeah, he's from Army of Thieves and A Man Like Mobeed, which is it's on Netflix, at least for me, and that show's actually pretty funny. So he's a funny guy. And lastly, we have Peter Serafinowicz as Gavin. I butchered the hell out of that, but I don't care. And he's the interesting thing about him is he's actually the voice of Darth Maul. He's in Shaun of the Dead, and he's also in Guardians of the Galaxy and John Wick 2. So the synopsis: sneaking out, hooking up, melting down. The cast and crew of a blockbuster action franchise attempts to shoot a sequel while quarantining at a posh hotel. So, John, I guess that brings us to story time.
The movie opens up with the introduction to the Cliff Beast franchise, which is basically what the movie's about, is the production of number 6. Um, and it just so happens that it starts production I think it was right in the beginning of the pandemic, or I don't know, they didn't really give a time frame, but it was early on. There's a small meeting with the producer Gavin and Bola and Gunther, the crew, I guess you could call them. And the whole thing is make them feel good, don't tire them out, don't fuck them. That's the essential message that is given to the crew, which I think is hilarious and probably toxic as fuck. But Carol goes and meets with her agent about working on Cliff Beast 6. She has skipped working on Cliff Beast 5, and because of that, she thinks that the other cast hates her and she's not sure she wants to do the movie. Plus, she's got a very neurotic boyfriend who's afraid of everything and doesn't want to leave him alone. So she has to recover from her last movie, which was the Jerusalem Rising, probably one of the most ridiculous, unsavory movies I think I've ever heard of in a movie, where she played a half Palestinian, half Jew, fighting a war and trying to get them together to fight aliens. Like,
Yeah, it was stupid.
it was ridiculous. And that was like what? It was like Tropic Thunder trying to make Tropic Thunder inside of Tropic Thunder.
I have to say, FYI, this movie sucked.
Yeah. Forewarning, this is not your good spoof movie. This is not the traditional. You're not going to get Leslie Nielsen quality here. So after they discuss the absolute flop of her movie, she agrees to do Cliff B6. So she has to go to the bubble, and she's supposed to quarantine for 2 weeks. On the way, she calls her neurotic boyfriend, who says, I just don't want to get sick. I might start dealing with a veterinarian, blah, 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 blah. She gets to the bubble. Um, Howie shows up and just they hug, and he gets dragged away like he's some kind of like a fan. Uh, and Gavin's like, you can get all the hugs after 2 weeks. We're gonna pamper you. We're gonna treat you great. So she goes in quarantine. She loses her shit. She becomes basically a statue after a short monologue of scenes where she's seen like stuffing her face, using a vibrator, working out.
Honestly, I thought that was like gonna. I straight up thought it was just gonna be like 6 hours past, like when they were doing that montage.
But yeah, I was expecting that too. It was like this has got to be just one day. This come on, and I was totally not expecting the whole 2 weeks to pass. So after the quarantine's over of 2 weeks, they all the cast get together for a dinner party. We meet the cast. We find out who they are. So we get introduced to the director, and he talks about his vision and all that fun stuff. He's out of his fucking mind.
Yeah, he's
Uh,
crazy.
he's definitely a lunatic. He's like one of those. He keeps talking about Sundance and how he won a victory, but he's very clearly not on par. So we get introduced to Paula, the studio head, who is telling Gavin that he needs to get the movie taken care of, or she'll tell everyone or someone, probably the cops, I would assume, whatever it is that he did that she saved him from. Um, and he gets so scared. Uh, then we see Sean and Ron the hotel owner, talking, and Sean's trying to convince Ron to join his religious endeavor, I guess we'll call it. Um, it's a cult. So then they do some rehearsals and a TikTok. They just break into a random TikTok with absolutely everybody that's been on screen so far.
Yeah, I don't. The TikTok is stupid as shit.
I mean,
Funny. It was funny, but stupid.
I guess that's what TikToks are. I don't know. After the TikTok, Dieter tries to get Annika to fuck him, but she's like, "Nah, you gotta love me. You gotta treat me like the angel I am. You gotta meet my family." I think, me personally, I thought she came off creepier than he was, but that's, I think, you might agree it's intended. Um, so she kind of makes him run away with his tail between his feet. So then they start shooting. The shooting is terrible. The acting is terrible. The movie looks terrible. Um,
I mean, I don't.
so
I
the
think it's. I think that's how it's always portrayed in movies when they're filming a movie within a movie. They always have to make the acting worse
oh bad.
than the real acting that they're actually doing. You
Yeah,
know what I mean? So
yeah.
yeah,
It's hilariously bad. I get it though. I understand. Um,
terrible.
yeah. So after that, the actors go off bickering for a little bit. Um, so then all of a sudden they're at like a little gathering, and they're singing a song that apparently no one remembers the words to, because they're all just kind of muttering. And Gavin breaks it up with saying that someone tested positive for COVID and that they all need to quarantine again. Massive groan across the crowd. So it was a montage of everyone quarantine again. Um, Pretty much everyone's losing their minds. Not much can be said. I think it's all pretty familiar for all of us. We all have had to do it at least once.
I forgot one of the things that fucking um Howie said was If I go back into quarantine, I'll fuck my chair.
So after the montage of quarantine time, Sean is shown learning how to fly a helicopter, but just up and down. Because that was what his agreement was, and it's hilarious and stupid. But it is what it is. So then Dustin and Laura start like flirting with each other, and they end up fucking on set and almost getting caught. Um, Crystal calls her mom, who is probably one of the weirder people that show up in the movie. I forget who played her.
Maria Bamford.
So Carol ends up hitting on the soccer player, who are in the bubble. They're in the same hotel, and he's creepy and talking about invading bubbles and how they need to talk. And if I don't talk to you, I'm gonna explode. It was creepy as fuck. Very very silly shit. I mean, it was silly, funny, not like great, but it was weird.
It was stupid. He kept saying like they have to mix
We
their
have to talk.
bubbles.
Yeah, we're gonna make our own bubble. And then she stops it. She says, "No, they can't." Um. Oh, so in the next scene, they're doing this like yoga shit, and Howie gets pissed off. And he says, "You know what? Fuck this shit. I'm out." And he just fucking leaves. Everyone's like, "No." Well, not everyone's not like, "No, stop." But Gavin's like, "Your weed come this morning." And it finally showed up. He was just trying to get him to stay. And you see him running off into the distance, and Dieter's like, "Bye, Howie."
Yeah, that was pretty good. That's pretty good. Fuck you, fucker. You fucker.
That's exactly where I'm at right now too. It's funny.
He said, why are you talking to me?
Your dances paved the way to hellfire.
And then he grabs David Duchovny by the cock and starts humping his shoulder.
Dude, he he calls himself Batman. This is ridiculous, man. This is so fucking
No, he said
ridiculous.
everybody's replaceable, and they're like
Oh yeah, that's
he's
right.
like no, you're not, and he's like yes, they did it with Michael Keaton, they changed
Val
him
Kilmer
for Val Kilmer, then they
and
changed Val Kilmer for George Clooney, and then they changed George Clooney for Christian Bale, and then Christian Bale to Ben Affleck, and then that skinny Twilight kid,
I'm going to London,
and then he takes off
and he's
running,
off. He's gone.
and he's like
How
fuck you, and go
2 months after that? Sorry, 2 months into recording. Wow, recording.
filming.
2 months into filming, there's a new security team that takes over at the hotel with Vincent Price's like version of the Crypt Keeper taking over as lead security guy.
Yeah, okay,
Like
that's super misleading. It's not a fucking crypt keeper. You're just a creepy fucking.
dude, if
He
he
was
had any
psycho. He was very like
less,
he was like a psycho. Like that's what I think
have
that's
you
what
ever
they were
seen
trying to
Tales from the
portray.
Crypt?
Yes, I get it. He
He,
like
he
just
is close.
he looks like that. Like that's just what his face looks like. But I mean that's
Yeah.
not what he was trying to portray.
Oh no, no, no. I meant more like that's what he looks like. My bad. I should have been clear. He definitely is a creep. So they all get tagged up with some GPS shit, and he's now lead security with his whole outfit there, taking lead on things like Howie not happening again. So then they film a scene with them writing Howie out, where they basically kill Howie off in the movie, which is so fucked up because they just make it so brutal. He,
Right?
he's,
It's
uh,
like the Cliff Beast just like spits his head out and it's
they're
just,
talking shit
what
about him,
does
and like he's a quitter. He was always a quitter. He sucked. Like they wrote in such terrible lines for him to be fucking written off. Like he was such a piece of shit. So after that, after the very untimely death of Howie's character, um, Carol video calls Josh, and who is her boyfriend, and she finds a woman at her house, and Josh is like just all of a sudden moved her shit in, and she's replaced, and he's still house sitting at her house. Like, yeah, I'm gonna start seeing this new chick. I'm doing you a favor though. What a piece of shit! Like he went from a neurotic asshole to a fucking absolute toxic asshole. So Dieter walks into some kind of like a reception room or something. Looks maybe like a bar. And he asks the production assistant if she wants to fuck him. To which she replies, "I'm eating blood." And then he asks Gunther if he wants to fuck, which ridiculous. Apparently, he's either desperate or bisexual. Um, I didn't catch that the first time either. I didn't even notice it. It just kind of slipped by. So Carol goes and spitefully fucks the soccer player. Well, first she meets up with him. It's heavily implied that she's gonna fuck him after the whole Josh thing. Laura and Dustin are talking to their kid on FaceTime, and he despises the shit out of them. Um, then Carol does end up fucking the soccer player. Dieter drops some acid right before a workout. It starts looking into his mirror, who is AI controlled as Daisy Ridley. And they start like flirting, and they make out. She like acid faces herself out of the mirror, and they make out. Strange scene, very Terminator style face kind of thing. Threw me the fuck off. So after that, a few people have tested positive for the flu, but no coronavirus. Side note: they also tested positive. Two people also tested positive for two separate STDs. Super random, hilarious. Um, but despite the fact that they're sick, they want to keep trying to film, so they do. So despite the fact that they're sick, they want to keep trying to film the movie so they can try to get it done. And they're climbing up a cliff, and everyone starts to feel gross. And then Laura like passes out, falls down, is dangling there, hanging and spinning in circles. And then everyone else starts to just get really worse and worse. And then by domino effect, one person throws up, then another person throws up, then David Duchovny throws up into Laura's mouth as she's hanging there, and it's hilariously gross. Um, so then we get Paula again. Gavin wants to stop production because people are feeling sick. She says, absolutely not. I wish we could poison them. I think, or she said they used to be able to poison them. You can't even let them be sick anymore. She doesn't give a fuck about those people, clearly. So after that, while Carol and the soccer player are fooling around again, um, he kind of gives her this idea to kind of retaliate for the poor treatment and see if if you don't want to treat us good, we'll just leave. So she tries to go bring that idea to the crew. Says we should threaten to quit, not actually quit, but threaten to quit so we can get better treatment. But they all like laugh her off and say no. There's more filming, and this time it's Crystal for some stupid reason doing a dance with like a velociraptor, which made no fucking sense. Um, I think the whole scene was designed at the last moment, I assume, to just kind of be an insult to Carol because of the whole after the mama bee shows up, she pees herself for a really long period of time. The whole scene was kind of annoying, to be perfectly honest. So Carol and the soccer guy, they're back together in the bedroom again as he's getting ready to leave. um, she finds out that he's married, and at first he threatens to go to him or to his wife and tell her, and finds it to find out that she's a fan and it wouldn't be a problem, and they're basically like a polyamorous family or whatever. So it was cool
He has 5 kids from 4 different women,
with
and he
two more
has
coming.
and 2 more coming with 2 other women.
Three more coming with two other women. I think
Yeah,
is what he said. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, and it's funny because earlier when they were banging earlier, he said he doesn't climax, but clearly that's
Yeah.
not the case.
I never climax. Ba, 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 ba. After that, Dieter goes to Annika and tries to start sweet talking her again. And it seems like it's gonna work. And then Ron John comes out of nowhere and starts talking about how he's gonna plunge his toilet for him. All extra gross. Um, so that didn't happen the way he wanted it to at all. So after that, Carol calls Josh again because apparently she's in denial about their relationship being over. But then he turns the phone, and they're both Josh and his new girlfriend are in her bed for some crazy reason. Dude's got some balls for being a neurotic guy. Yeah, we're house sitting. You should be thankful. What a dick.
Stupid.
Yeah. She says, "Screw this. I'm coming home." And she storms off. And then we get to Laura and Dustin. Laura's about to set Dustin's computer on fire because he keeps changing the script. And so she's a crazy person and sets his computer on fire and calls their adoptive son and is like, "Look what mommy's doing. I don't care. Bye." Like, that kid is just the worst adopted kid to them ever. He hates them so much. Um, so then Laura and Carol are both trying to leave. Carol's jumping out a fucking window. Laura's roller skating out, and all the lasers are going crazy. The security team surrounds her, and as she's scooting away, she's like, "Fuck this!" Her hands are up, and one of them shoots her fucking hand off. Like, you're not supposed to attack the talent, but her whole shit exploded. Um, and it was just so brutal. And then uh who finds Carol? Is it Gavin? Gavin's like, "Carol, are you trying to run away too?" "No, I was just trying to see what was going on." That was a quick change of heart for her, real quick.
Yeah.
um that scene was kind of fun. And then fucking Mr. Best shows up. "What happened?" "Oh, thought it was a crazed fan. Just a couple of digits, just a graze." Meanwhile, she's got a thumb left. Just fucking
Dangling.
it was fucked up. Um,
And she knocks a fucking security guard out. Like, holy shit.
yeah, she was a fucking beast. I mean,
Oh,
that's
it's
her.
so gross.
Yeah. The grossest part for me was the burst of red, like it was the
You don't
red
tell me the
mist.
fucking dangling finger she keeps swinging around isn't gross? That's
I
fucking
th-
disgusting.
it is pretty gross, but I don't know, man. That mist just. um.
Well,
So
mister,
after.
I hate all the excessive blood in this cowboy movie we just watched, but,
No, no,
like,
no,
her
no.
chick's
I
fucking
hated the
hand
fakeness
exploding
of it.
like that,
It was just so fake. It
that
was.
was fake as shit too.
Yeah, yeah, you're right. You're right. That was at least only one thing. Anyways, wrong movie. Um, so Gavin goes to Paula and is like, "No, we're stopping this fucking movie. This is crazy." Paula's like, "Absolutely not. You're not stopping this movie." But then for some reason she goes to her boss, who happens to be John Lithgow, and she's like, "We don't have the budget or the time to finish this movie." He's like, "I don't care, get it done." And then he goes to his boss and says, "We can't do it. It can't be done." And he says, "Do it anyways." And then they're both in Fiji, and it's tennis time. Then we get this like weird stunt scene with John Cena's head, but they were trying to do all kinds of shit, and then something happened. The cord broke and caught Sean and dragged him across the set and threw him into a tent, which was wild. And then after that, Carol calls her agent and says, "This is ridiculous. We need to stop." And he tells her to shut the fuck up and deal with it. And then we get a creepy scene with Carol in the pool and the director. After that, we get a scene with the people from the hotel staff, the hotel owner, the receptionist, Bola, Gunther. They're all happy because they're just making money hand over fist while the filming continues, so they don't want it to ever end. So after that, they shoot a green screen scene with Laura as a double, and Dustin breaks down, gets all pissy because he should be home helping with his family instead of producing a movie, quote unquote. Um, Carol goes and complains about the treatment on set, and
He's pissed off because of this little
well, the
scene
hand
you
situation.
No, he's pissed off because of the scene you skipped right before the group of fucking staff or get together where he's pissed off that they're not using his rewrite. And then he's
Oh
like, I'm
yeah.
gonna go make this shitty movie. So that's what he's pissed off about. He doesn't give a fuck about his wife.
Oh yeah. I didn't even put that together. I didn't tie it together at all. That didn't. That's not even me not having written it down. It's just me not even realizing that that was them going together. Clearly, I lost interest in this movie halfway through. Carol's complaining about the treatment on set, and as she's walking away, she finds out her grandma's died, and she's not allowed to leave set. Which would be the last straw for me personally. For some reason, Paula thinks it's a great idea to apologize by giving a projection concert of Beck, which, sure, I guess. They all decide to get loose and dance at the end of it. Um, After that, they go and do some press with ET. Carol makes it some way and then decides to break down and ask for help, like basically pleading for it, hoping that it's alive, and it's not live. And then she asks Crystal to do a TikTok, and that chick Carla deletes it because it's a bad idea. It'll potentially lose Crystal followers. Sean tells Carol he's a fraud after she looks to him for some help. So Crystal had snuck out of the bubble. She got spotted by another TikToker. Um, they called for her to be canceled. She gets all upset, starts crying, and says she has to fix it. Then we get a scene with Dieter handing out drugs to everybody as they show up to his room. Um, People start hallucinating and or having visions. Carol's face keeps changing to either Josh or the soccer player that she was messing around with. Um, and Gunther looked like Benedict Cumberbatch, which was really, really weird. Um, and then they decide to do another TikTok while they're all tripping, which apparently made good quality stuff. And as they're doing the TikTok, fucking Dieter dies, just drops dead. Um, and then everyone tries to save him. They put him in like an ice bath to cool him down, and then I think Annika shows up and saves him with adrenaline. Carol does another freedom speech, and then that she wants to. They want it to be over. All right, so they start filming again, and this time they're kind of torn. Dieter as Geo wants to kill them, and some of them want to save them. But Dieter is taking aim with his flamethrower at the genitals, specifically because their hormones are toxic and flammable. Um, they disagree, but Dieter gets dragged off by one of the cliff beasts, and Dustin's like, you know what, we got to do it. We have to kill them all. So that's how that goes. So they're all shooting at the cliff beasts, and Dustin's like, this is bullshit. This rewrite sex. Him and Darren are going back and forth about how bad it looks and how bad it sounds, and the actors kind of just start piecing themselves off. Um, Eventually, everyone's made their way off set and they're all running away. Um, and then, out of all the scenes that happen there's a little bit like a running off thing. James McAvoy shows up and starts chasing Carol. And you sent me the thing yesterday, the meme. It was pretty funny. He's chasing her down. He says, "Why are you running? Get back here!" It so random, just James McAvoy chasing Carol down the road. But hey, James McAvoy being James McAvoy. So as they're all running away, Howie shows up out of nowhere with Gavin and fucking shoots Mr. Best in the hand with an arrow, which was hilarious. And Gavin was like, "I want to kind of live in this for a moment," and that was great. I don't know where the hell Howie came from, but he was like, "Oh, maybe I can get in for the next movie after this."
Well,
Um,
that's clearly where he came from. He came back because he was trying to get into the movie. It's
He's like, "I know what
pretty.
I
It's
fucked
pretty.
that up."
It's pretty straightforward.
No, I know. Like, I mean, like where he came from. He just shows up out of the woods. So then Dustin and Darren meet up. Well, they don't meet up, but they all kind of congregate at the helicopter. And Dustin and Darren do this fake stunt fight that's so stupid. Um, and then Dustin's like, "You know what? This is how you do it." And then he punches him in the dick and then in the face. And then they all crowd into the helicopter. And Sean's like, "I got this," and flies up. And he just hovers there because he can't actually fucking fly the helicopter. So he's just hovering there, and someone's like, "We should YouTube it because YouTube has everything." And they YouTube it, and they figure out after a few seconds, with some intimidation from Darren down below with a fake gun, making stupid faces and threatening to shoot them, they fly off and they escape their fate of having to film Cliff Piece 6. And the movie ends with behind the scenes guy having put together footage of this whole making of Cliff Beast 6 and making a documentary of it, and That was the movie about the movie about the movie. And that's it. Finally, we have found the end of this shit.
Thankfully.
Yes. Thankfully, thankfully. I'm gonna even just go ahead and assume when I say, Zach, did you like it? The answer is
No.
I don't even need to know why, Zach. I don't think it needs any explanation. You have been bored since you pressed record. Uh, I
This movie sucked ass.
I kind of liked it, but I didn't really like it. Like I wouldn't go out of my way to watch it again, but it had its moments for me. That brings us to the good, the bad, and the
Meh.
and since it was my movie, and I'm gonna have a little bit more to say about it on this one than you, I think. Um, my good,
Definitely.
my good was there was actually some funny bits that made me laugh. I did have a couple of good giggle fits here and there. There wasn't expressly often, but there was some good funny spots. So that was my good. I'm gonna go ahead and pass this one over to you, Zach. What was your good?
Um, my good was basically like, oh fuck, man, I hated this movie. But I did enjoy like the drug scene when everybody's all getting all fucked up on the drugs and shit.
Okay.
And just randomly like Gunther is there, like he's just chilling with all the actors just doing drugs and shit. I'm like, oh
Yep.
okay, that's kind of funny. So yeah, that scene, but it's still pretty shit.
What about your meh?
Uh, most of the jokes, most of the jokes kind of fell flat. A lot of the jokes fell flat. Like I did, I did chuckle at a few things, but like for the most part, this just I just hated it. As soon as yeah, yeah, the jokes, most of the jokes. What about you? What was your meh?
It's kind of when you say jokes, I'm kind of on the same wavelength. When I say there was too much of not enough, there was too many jokes that just didn't land. And so yeah, you're absolutely right, and I'm on board. Yeah, I'm just gonna segue right into my bad. My bad was there was too many main characters. There was too many people. It was too heavy because of it. There was a lot to be had with less people, and some people just can't handle a full ensemble cast. And I feel like this movie suffered a lot from that. So that's my bad.
I mean,
What about you, sir?
you would think that like with that kind of cast, it would have been fucking hilarious, but
Wrong
it was
topic. Definitely the wrong topic.
just terrible, just fucking terrible.
Yeah.
Um, so my
What?
bad.
Yes. What's your bad? Please lay it on me.
My bad is the script. The whole fucking,
Ooh.
the whole damn thing, fucking terrible script.
Yeah, this was a very poorly written movie. I don't know if Judd Apatow was writing, but he he has come a long way from his '90s movies and even his early 2000s movies.
Yeah, I don't know if they just don't hit anymore, but like no, because it's not true. Because like I like how like that Halloween movie with Adam Sandler is a stupid shit, right? So like I don't know this
Movie
movie.
Halloween.
Yeah, this movie just sucked, man.
Yeah, yeah.
So, but yeah, so with that being said, though, what was your highlight scene?
You called it earlier, the drug scene, man. That shit was pretty funny. I got a solid kick out of seeing Gunther become Doctor Strange. Um I
It
thought it
was
was
so,
really good face swapping.
it was so bad.
It
It
was
was
it was so
so
bad, but it,
bad.
it was just so funny. Look, I'm Doctor Strange. And he was just like the face swapping out of all of them, his was probably the best looking. Everyone else just didn't belong, but at least he kind of at least had the structure for it.
I guess.
um, but yeah, that whole drug scene that was just a good giggle fest for me the whole time through it. Um, I have a feeling I know what you're gonna say, but what was your letdown, Zach?
The entire movie was my letdown.
I knew that was coming. I absolutely knew that was coming. I could have said
Like
it for you.
this movie had such heavy hitters, and just to fall flat like it did, like, normally I don't agree with the reviews, but they were totally right. This is garbage. So, the entire movie is my letdown.
I knew that was coming. I absolutely knew that was coming. Well, Zach, that was fun. um, before we go,
If that
hopefully,
if that is your degree of fun, bro, you are not a fun person.
you didn't hear the sarcasm in my voice.
No.
Ugh, it must be from the dreariness that you're feeling from being so bored about talking about this movie. So before we go, if we haven't lost all of the people that have ever listened to this show from listening to this one episode, let's plug our social medias, shall we? Um, you can find us on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. Instagram is at MNWTB Podcast. Twitter is at MNWT Boys. TikTok is at MNWTB Pod. Zach, where else can we be found?
You can check out our YouTube page, Movie Night with the Boys, exclamation mark. And we also have a gaming channel. There's no content on it yet because I'm still filming a bunch of stuff, but
Me too. I got
it's
some Fortnite stuff coming.
it's gaming night with the boys, right? There's that. And yeah, I'm just I swear to God I'm gonna make the Facebook page tomorrow. So yeah, so that's where we can be found
Tomorrow from when this airs, or tomorrow from today.
from today.
No one bothers with Facebook anymore. Everyone uses Photo Dump now, or whatever the fuck it's called.
You've
Photo
no
Bucket. Do you remember Photo Bucket from back in the day?
Yeah, no, you're speaking out of your ass right now because
Yeah, I know.
Facebook is so fucking popular.
I hate it. I hate it so much. Facebook sucks. Ah. Well, Zach, with that being said, it's been real.
Deuces.
Deuces.